In 2006, me and my former business partner, who you've seen on the podcast, Jolene Falco, we were working at an organization together. That's how we met, and we were miserable. And decided that we were going to quit and embark on this journey of entrepreneurship.
In this episode of Conversations Beyond the Brand, Cashe Thompson gets real about her journey, the mistakes, the surrender, the dark seasons, and how God used relationships to rebuild everything.
What helped you to have the mindset of, I'm going to keep on going, even though this on the surface looks like failure?
I was in a really, really dark place. And again, it's the leaning of the Holy Spirit. I've said and I've surrendered again and again. This is God's business, not mine. You have to lean into your own personal relationship with God and lean into whatever you feel like God is telling you to do. As you begin to make whatever decision you are being led, called to, the provision is already being set up.
What do you feel like was the first step you took to rebuild after filing for bankruptcy?
It was God will always give you double for your trouble.
Ooh, yes.
So not only did I rebuild the business, but it was exceedingly abundantly more than it was before. All right, welcome back to another episode of Conversations Beyond the Brand. I'm your host, Cashe Thompson. And today, the tables are turning once again. My good friends, Cashe Thompson, no relation, oddly enough. I guess I should have said that in the first.
But y'all will think that we're long lost cousins. No, she's just my good sis.
I mean, we are family now, but
At this point, yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
anywho, we're back for some more being all in my business.
All up in your business because the people need to know about your business. And I'm so excited for this portion because Tashawn's story is so inspiring. And I feel like women, we share our story, but we don't always go deep down. And so today we get to go deep down and talk about how this work even began. So you shared before that back in 2007, you unhappy with your job and you decided to just take a step out on faith. Can you take us back to that moment and let us know, like, what were you thinking? What gave you the courage to just say, you know what, I'm done? And how did you handle that uncertainty and not necessarily having a plan, but just saying yes to the call?
Oh Lord. Um, how long you got? So first of all, I'm almost 20 years removed from this, which is crazy to say. But in 2006, me and my former business partner, who you've seen on the podcast, Jolene Falco, my good sister friend, we were working at an organization together. That's how we met. And we were miserable, just miserable. And decided that we were going to quit and embark on this journey of entrepreneurship. And not knowing exactly what it was going to look like, Jolene, I think we shared in the podcast, like she was working a couple part-time jobs. I had was able to retain some consulting work with that same employer, doing the part that I love and coming home to make double the money. Hallelujah. Um,
Do it.
so that's kind of what it started with, but it really started with, being young and dumb. Don't do what I did. Like it worked out, but don't do what I did.
Do it.
Um, I was 25 years old. 25 years old.
That's crazy.
Insane. Insane. So but I also was 25 and sick, like pre-diabetic, heavier than I am now. Um, and just miserable. Like, the stress and anxiety that you feel when you're working in an environment where it's toxic.
Yes.
It's toxic.
Yes.
And it had to be I give all credit to and glory to God because it had to be Holy Spirit to let me know at that age that girl, this ain't it.
Mhm.
Because leaving and embarking. Like the name of the business wasn't even Beyond Business Solutions back then. The business is called Aurora Neche, I wanna say Business Services or something. Her
Run
middle
Runashay?
Aurora is her middle name, and Neche is my middle name.
Aura Neche.
Aurora, Auro Aurora. Anywho,
Oh, wow.
it was too much. The point is you can't pronounce it, you can't understand. It's too much. But I knew, both of us knew that there had to be more,
Mm,
and I also didn't start out serving women-led organizations. Um, but it really was misery and wanting to control my own destiny, and also being in that environment, um, being in a director role and running educational training and trainings programs and things like that, and making millions of dollars for organizations, um, that I knew what my sales and marketing acumen was, and I was finishing
mm,
graduate school. I was finishing a dual MBA in marketing and HR. And it was just like, I don't know what the end gonna be like, but we're gonna find out and see.
yes.
And it's kind of become this. But I wanna really point out too. So it was that point of misery and
Mhm.
making creating some freedom for myself. But it's also been an environment where there were a lot of small businesses that we could see closing at alarming rates. And we're
Mm,
trying to make the distinction, like, what is the difference between the small businesses and the ones that are like really, really being successful? And they were competing, kind of in against larger organizations who had marketing budgets.
mm,
And, we were dealing with people who, let's for example, your mama can bake good cakes, but your can bake good cakes. Your mama don't know how to run a business.
mhm.
Your mama don't know how to market said business. Your mama don't, say like my auntie know how to make good, like, you know, there was a missing link and we could see these businesses closing at alarming rates. So that was the
Mhm,
problem we were trying to solve in the marketplace. So yes,
mhm,
the self-serving, control your own destiny piece, but also the how do we serve this demographic of businesses who are closing at alarming rates because they have no business and marketing acumen.
There goes that business nerd again, that marketing nerd coming out.
No, it's me.
Ah.
Um, and that really started to begin to that business nerd. I had no desire to go in business for myself until my MBA program.
Mm,
And that was like when I was like, huh, what is that? Because in my MBA program, I was like building a business. And I had like this mock business that I had built, and it was like a pet store or something like that, right? And you have to build all these plans. Anyway, so I was like,
I can do this.
this is nice. And I can remember being like pretty much done with my MBA in marketing. And I was like, oh, there was opportunity to do a dual MBA for, a few more courses. I was like, okay, what would I need education wise, knowledge wise to run my own business successfully? I need
Mm,
to know how to market. And I also need to know how to leverage people as my resource.
mm,
So that's where the human resource side of things came in. And I had already ran training programs, like national training programs and, done a lot on that end. So it was kind of natural.
mm.
I know I went somewhere you didn't want me to go, but I'm back.
No, you went exactly where you're supposed to go. I love the origin story because I feel like everything starts to make more sense the more that we kinda hear how this all came about.
Mhm.
Back to you and relationships because the common theme here is heart
Mm.
and relationships and the importance that relationships have, not just on your business, but really on your life experience. And so you quit your first job and you gave most of your savings to a family member. And then out of nowhere, Your director offered you a contract role that nearly doubled your income.
Mhm.
What did that season teach you about risk and about trusting in God's plan for your life?
Um, it's always his plan, not mine, right? And
Yes.
you've known me for many years now, and most
Yeah.
people that do know that that's just like who I am. I've
Mhm.
gotten a little bit different. I'm a little different now in my 40s, but you know, I had some money put aside that I was going to live off of after I quit my job because it's important to know that although I was 25, I had a house and a mortgage. So this was like a quantum leap, like get on a roof and jump type of situation for me. Again, do not do this.
Do not do as I do,
I mean,
but the faith carried you. I can
oh,
attest.
absolutely.
So
Ab-
maybe it's not blueprint like what you did, copy and paste, but it is lean into the trust.
You have to lean into your own personal relationship with God and lean into whatever you feel like God is telling you to do.
Mm,
That's the truth of it, right?
mhm.
Because, you know, that's a whole nother tangent I could send us on, but I won't. Um, but I really felt like that's what I was being led to do. And the fact that there was a safety net out. Quick story. So at church on Sunday, um, the pastor was teaching the story about, I can't remember, was it Abraham that took his son up to the mountain to sacrifice him? Was it
Yeah,
Abraham?
yeah, he took Isaac. Yeah.
Isaac. Okay.
Mhm.
And
It
how
was Abraham.
it was Abraham?
I think so, or was it
We are
Isaac?
not theologians, okay? You know the story. Um, but
Now I gotta look it up, but keep
yeah, I
talking.
gotta look it up.
Keep talking.
So he was telling that story about like the ram being in the bush to be sacrificed because of Abraham's or whatever character it was, the willingness, the heart to do what God had said.
Mm,
And Pastor was talking about like, was the ram already in the bush? Or
mm,
did like what came first, the chicken or the egg, right?
mm.
Like he was saying, like he believes that as who was it? Who was it? Was it Abraham?
It was Yep, it was Abraham.
Okay,
God
Tashana.
told Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac. That's so funny because I'm trying to look it up on the low, like, hurry up and look.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
No. This
Yes.
is happening in real time. And I didn't obviously did not rehearse any of this. But yeah, so he's telling that story, like, and I and it really was a powerful illustration, but like as you begin to make whatever decision you were being led, called to, the provision is already being set up.
That's so deep.
And like pastor was like saying that he believes that when the decision was made that I'm going to obey God and do what's in my heart, to do what I believe God is telling me to do, even though killing your son is, uh, um, that God was already interceding
Mm,
and making it so that he wouldn't actually have to. He was just testing his heart. And
mm,
I felt like God was testing my heart with that. But
mm.
this the point. I tell a long story, girl.
No.
Um, but the point is, I believe in that season, God was testing my heart to say, okay, would you still be doing this if I took it all away?
Mhm.
And are
Wow.
you going to still
Li
be who I've called you to be in terms of being a giver and a sower? And, you've been asked to do this and then you've been asked to do this. What you going to do? And
mm,
as I was doing that, I promise you, my boss at the time, not days later, less than a week, I don't remember, it was many years ago, called me into the office and said, "Hey, are you leaving to go take another job? I know you're finishing up graduate school." And I was like, "No, I'm just going to take a break." Couldn't say, "I hate it here." Um, couldn't say,
Comes it
I
out.
couldn't say that. And he was like, "Well, so would you take this part of the job that you love and go home, be a 1099 consultant, and yeah, you still fulfill this role that you're making us all this sweet money?" Um, but, take it and go home. You don't have to be here. You don't have to be he didn't say this, but he was saying this to me. He didn't know. You don't have to be in a toxic environment. You don't have to you ain't got to drive all this way. You can take your coins and go home with a very nice incentive package.
Mm.
And I said, "You know what? Seemed
Absolutely.
like it seemed like the ram in the bush to me
Yes.
because I had no job and now I had no money."
Yes. It also I feel like I'm also hearing, like, you can't make anything your God. Like,
Absolutely.
God is your God. So, in Abraham's case, it was his son. It's like you can't put your relationship with your son before God. In your case, it was the money that she had. You're trusting God, but it's almost like God is the one who blessed you with that money or that son, that child, and acting in alignment with God's will is not going to necessarily remove that from your life, but it's like you have to be willing to submit and to the unknown of I could lose my child. I could lose all this money, but I'm trusting God's call, what he's told me to do, and I'm not going to put anything else before that call. So I just
Absolutely.
love that
And you explained that
example.
so much more like so articulately, like that is the absolute truth. Like we can make so many things idols in our life. We
Mhm.
feel like good because this is a whole nother podcast. Because
Mhm.
we have a family or we have friends and we're hiding behind all of these idols.
Mhm.
And God said you shouldn't have no idols.
Girl, I gotta write some stuff down because you are
Not
speaking to
your
me.
Not sure your husband should not be your idol. Yes, we love them. We pray for them. Whatever. Your husband, your partner should not be that. Your children should not be that. Your political affiliation, whatever. Like nothing can be that. Your money, nothing can be that. You got to lay it all down.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that to know, it is a daily surrender. It's not like I surrendered once in 2006 and now in 20 what year is it? 2025 because I'm already living in the next year. That I don't have to continually lay it down. And you and I have read this book a million times.
Yes.
But this is the Abundance book by John Randolph Price. And it says, no money is not my supply, and no person, place, or condition is my supply.
Mm.
God is my supply.
Yes. Yes.
So that money wasn't it. That like nothing is it but God. So
Mm.
when he uses different things, he used that, that director in that sense, but none of that is the supply. It's God.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
you have to surrender. I guess my origin story is one of surrender.
Yes.
Like
Ooh, so good.
so much. Just so
That's
much.
so good. I still have a few questions for you, but I'm like, wow, this has been so good already.
Well, keep going.
Let's keep it flowing.
Indulge me for a minute. Close your eyes and imagine what your organization would look like if you had your very own team of marketing experts dedicated to growing your organization. Let's make this vision a reality. Schedule your complimentary marketing audit today. We'll talk about what's working, what isn't, and how we can help.
Okay, so I want us to talk through about your next kind of bump along the road. So you start your business, you're
Mhm.
moving along, things are going great, and then, a few years in, you get pregnant, you have a beautiful my niece, you bring my niece into the world, you go through postpartum, and your business partner leaves you during that season, your income dropped during that season, and ultimately you filed for bankruptcy. And
Mhm.
many people would have walked away and said, "I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going back to the private sector," but you didn't. You rebuilt your business into a multiple six-figure business from bankruptcy. What helped you to have the mindset of, "I'm gonna keep on going even though this on the surface looks like failure?" It
It
was
was like a failure.
wrapped up in, like
It was a failure. It was a failure. I had been in business a decade at that point. having, I talked about this on your podcast. I'll talk
Mhm.
about it in a book that I got to be a part of. I'm gonna grab it this year.
Yes.
I have a chapter in this book this year, inspiring women living an unstoppable life with purpose, power, and passion. And I talk about how that whole process and how daunting and awful it was, and how I I was in a really, really dark place.
Mm.
And again, it's the leaning of the Holy Spirit. And I've said and I've surrendered again and again. This is God's business, not mine. So if you want me to do it, Lord, I'll find something out. Like you tell me what's next then,
What's
bud.
next? Okay.
Where we going next? Because that's what it's been. I mean, it was dark. It was dark. It was shameful. I still get a little quiver saying, having people know that I've had such a deep failure to have to file for bankruptcy. And I'm someone who now has a reputation who with being impeccable with like paying bills and uh look, I don't play about the numbers. Cash will tell you.
Does not play.
I with my coaching clients and my consulting clients about knowing theirs. Um, but it was a mark, a scarlet letter, if you will. I my reputation, and I don't know why I even told nobody. I think I just I think the first time I shared it publicly was probably on your podcast.
What do you feel like was the first step you took to rebuild after filing for bankruptcy?
Again, and that's what I talk about in my chapter. Um, and shout out to Marie Fortoni who led this initiative. It was relationships.
Mm.
So my chapter is about like how I use my relationships to build my, get myself out of that space and rebuild my life.
Mhm.
But I laid and wallowed for a while. I laid and wallowed for a good while, but I can remember going to be a part of a networking group that I was really able to. I'm trying to find my chapter, but that I was really able to tap into, and they were that group helped me rebuild my business, like having conversations, building relationship.
Yes.
I rebuilt it that way, out networking, out meeting women, out, and it was along those lines when I decided that, "Oh, I really wanna work with women."
Mm.
And the name of my chapter is The Power of Relationships: My
Mm.
Path to Rebuilding.
Mm.
So, it was the power of relationships, that relationship currency that I talk about so much,
Mm.
that rebuilt everything. And let me just say this, God will always give you double for your trouble.
Yes. Ooh, yes.
So, not only did I rebuild the business, but it was exceedingly abundantly more than it was before.
Yes.
Like, it has been exceedingly abundantly more that I could ask, think, or hope.
Mm. Wow.
It really has been. And
Mm.
that doesn't mean that I don't cry sometimes. I've been crying a lot 4th quarter.
Okay.
But it is just the truth and the reality of business, and yet another reason why I started this podcast, that I'm not gonna come here and pretend like every day is sweet. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
make people believe that, you know, I have 10 nannies doing all the things. Like, no, like it's hard. There is no balance. It's some lie and it's a myth. Um, but life is sweet and life is good and
Mhm.
it's worth living. And as long as we have breath in our bodies, God has given us another opportunity to do what we love and to serve people and to
Mhm.
love people. I know it's not popular, but we loving people over here.
Yes.
Like,
Heart-centered work. Yes. Okay, I love this. And okay, talk to us a little bit about that transition from you built your business with a partner,
yes.
a close friend, and then in the middle of postpartum with the baby, you shifted into a sole CEO. What do you feel like that transition taught you about leadership boundaries and trusting yourself to be a decision maker for your business, the sole decision maker for your business?
Um, it hurt at the time, but what she gave to me, and we talked about this at length on season 1 of the podcast. She gave me a gift
Mhm.
because it allowed me to rebuild. um the way I wanted to,
Mhm.
on my back, my name is on the moniker. So if it goes right, it goes wrong, it's on me,
Mhm.
which is heavy as the crown. But also, wouldn't necessarily have it any other way,
Mhm.
being on the other side of it. But you
Mhm.
could not tell me that in 2017, when she came to me in May and I had a 5-month-old baby, like I literally had just had my baby in January and she came to me in May. I mean, y'all go back,
4-month-old baby.
huh?
4-month-old baby.
March, April. Girl, you right. You
I
right.
had a baby in January too, so I know how to math. Yes. No, that's still such a raw time. Like, I can remember being 4 months postpartum, and I feel like the fog was barely beginning to lift. And when I say there's levels to the fog,
Level,
level
level.
1 was starting to lift, and there were still all these other levels, not to take away, but that was, that's a lot of pressure.
It was so much happening in my life at that time that maybe at some point I'll share even more of, but
Mm.
I was absolutely miserable.
Mhm.
I can remember, um, and I don't want to trigger anybody, so I'll leave it out. But it was a rough time. It was a dark
Mm.
time.
Mm.
It
Wow.
was dark.
Mm.
And you can imagine being a six-figure earner, and now you got a baby that you can't take care of. Go from
Mm.
being a six-figure earner. I think like that year, I made 20, like, was it 25,000? 20 something $1,000 that I made, brought home that year. And I have a baby,
Mm.
a new marriage, a new bonus son, being a wife, a mother, a daughter. My mom's here with us. Like, that's all I'll say. It
Mm.
was, and Jolene, and we talked about it on the podcast, like, she's still one of my best friends.
Mhm.
She was one of my, even we were even closer then. Like, she was my
Mhm.
sister.
Mhm.
And to lose that, like, I felt like it was, like, one of my only anchors at the time.
Mm.
So not only is this business shift, it's all the personal that goes with it.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
that's why I say our lives and our businesses move at the speed of our relationships,
Mm.
because that thing had my life and my business that slowed down because my relationships was like,
Mm. Mm.
yeah.
Ooh, that was so, so, so good. That was so good. I'm, like, holding back tears because I just feel like you just hit on so many key points. Is there anything else that you feel like we should know about your origin story and about just how all of this mission, this essence, how this all came to life?
I don't know. I feel like I told a lot of my business. Um, so I don't know. I don't think there's much more to say. Like, I mean, there is, but I think we gave them a good bit.
So, so good. Well, thank you for allowing me to come on and to sit in this wisdom, to sit in this transmission of wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you for
Mhm.
always being my steady rock.
Aw.
Steady, like, just steady, and just a
Aw.
beam of light. Like, y'all see her? This my
Oh,
girl
don't
right
make
here.
don't make me cry. Okay, we
A
can
beam of
cut.
light.
We
Like,
can cut.
she's shining the light on me here. You
Mm.
have to go check her out, and learn more. I'll make sure we include her information in the show notes. But, thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of All Tashana's Business.
We love it here.
See you next time.
See you guys again.